give UNESCO publications. They have other youth in different sectors which are involved. But basically what we need to do is to enhance, the idea is to enhance this policy. So that
So one of those three key policy implementation mechanisms that we have identified, really Group 5A, key publications, content creation opportunity, and maximizing visibility. So those are the three implementation mechanisms that we as a group. So I'll be looking into the first mechanism, which is about the publication. So we are saying here the priority issue is publications. However, the policy measures, we are saying we should critically analyze the policy by incorporate digitization into teaching. And then when we're looking into the roadmap that should be followed, we are saying there should be collaboration with the government in the induction on e-government in the advancement of the NSDP2. And then we are saying one indicator during we should issue certification for publication in accreditation of the journals. And then we get to the second mechanism, which is about content creation opportunities. So one another the policy measure forward, there should be standardization. The roadmap, we shall be, there should be the selection of the experts, technical assistance, and then we're saying this should take about 1 to 12 months. And then on the indicator here, we're saying establishment of licensed government bodies which monitor and control content creation. And then I'll be moving on to the last implementation mechanism, which is visibility, maximizing visibility. And then we see one under the policy measure community research. And then under roadmap action, we can talk about intergovernmental readiness. And then we organize guest lectures. And then lastly, some workshops. This policy about this content creation issue. And then on the indicators here, the social media such as Facebook pages, YouTube, Instagram. So when we're moving on to these three key missing stakeholders, we have identified Ministry of Labor, we have identified the Ministry of Law and Justice, we have identified the Lesotho Communication Authority, and also the private sector. So why do we need these three stakeholders and they are missing? We are saying, when we're talking about the Ministry of Labor, we are saying they deal with employment, the wages and salaries. That means they can assist how is a determine but when we are saying is a content creator, at least what I has a greater content team. And then when we're moving on to the Minister of Law and Justice, we are saying we need those laws to protect those individuals that will be taking part in the content creation. So we are saying and then everything. And then we're moving on to the Lesotho Communication Authority. You see, the one who are dealing with this online thing. Again, they've been given that mandate. So you see, yes, they this LCA right program. And then also the private sector in the form of LTDC, happy in the form of the top operator and the travel agents. You see, LTDs, we are talking about content creation, culture, digitizing culture. We see we are trying to sell our culture, we are trying to create value. So you're saying LTDC, when we are selling about, when we are creating value out of this culture, we see LTDC has been given the mandate or a mayor tourism in general. So you're saying we feel like tourism, LTDC should be part of this stakeholders and also the top rated travel agents. They say, let's in terms of marketing, bringing in those international tourists for our culture. So we are saying yes, that is the short presentation here, Group 5.
And we are already cultural heritage, memory and knowledge systems, information capital. So they are digitized, digitized. So to what extent do we enhance images that digitized? It's a collection of photos where you have films in black and white, and then about okay, sometimes we ask about the big colors, but this we have had it in black and white. So policy I would like your to someone to what extent are we doing all this? Department of Arts and Culture in partnership with National Archives and Ministry of Communications. Institutions of higher learning. Made and timeline, 2 years. So from there, what indicated in National Heritage Digitization Protocol, so we are priority number 2. The destruction of heritage sites. We did not say deterioration. We specifically use the word destruction because we know heritage sites in Zaun. So look one of the decided one I think settled quickly Motuadis look like Buffalo Day. Wanaka Saidila Goile, Kamusidi, Budima, Rokati, and so that is where we pick the word destruction so that we understand the intensity. So from there, the policy we are going to develop a management plan, management plans for our heritage sites. They will guide us for now. Okay, so now we have a distraction. How do we deal with this deterioration? So from there, even roadmap action Ministry of Tourism, Sports, Arts and Culture again in association with Marija Museum. We have Arts Councils, Heritage Council, but eventually. So let's already the NGOs and companies, leading institutions also of higher learning. Even if have an indicator as a management plan, it's a management plan, management plans for our heritage sites, but now how do we deal with this destruction? And priority number 3, demand more than a lack of appreciation. The lack of appreciation more than a high people like group points are
in intellectual property, rights management, law enforcement. So, in the question, what 3 actions could most improve protection, licensing, and fair remuneration for creators in the digital environment? They include data piracy and platform issues. Now, the biggest challenge here is implementing, even before we got low levels of awareness on the part of creators, lead users in relation to protection, licensing, and remuneration. Because I reshape a lot of because re tlameha re shebe in putting our priority issue, ne re tlameha re shebe hore na bothata e address hore na bothata ke bofeng, le hore na into the value chain e kena jwang. Mme ke yona taba eno re hlokometseng. Mme ha re leka re sheba policy measure e ka bang teng, kore ho sontso na le di-knowledge dissemination measures tse teng, but now we need to improve devise improved knowledge dissemination measures for our creators so that they're able to commercialize their work more, they get more value for mosebetsi ona. That way we realize that there are already existing knowledge dissemination measures, but now we need to devise improved measures. We want to improve in doing so, we realize that the lead on this issue will have to be joined by the Ministry of Tourism, Sports, Arts and Culture, in particular the Department of Arts and Culture, and the SUCOSA as the lead of that particular measure. And then we would need, for support, we would need to have a dedicated implementing team that will be formed to target the work. And now, for the timeline, this is not an issue that we can say we're doing for 1 year, 2 years. Knowledge dissemination is an ongoing process because the IP field for rights management, it's an ever-evolving issue, especially with the proliferation of new technologies, with AI and the likes. It's an ongoing issue we need to keep developing, so we cannot set a particular timeline on it. And now, for the second one, we realize that I see that says, for number 2, it says lack of enforcement, but it's supposed to say limited enforcement because there is some form of enforcement, but it's limited. And now, there's limited enforcement because enforcement agencies do not understand what we're talking about, do not understand copyright, and do not understand their role in enforcement of copyright. Now, to kind of like answer this, the policy measure that we have to devise a structured system of sufficiently deterrent penalties and incentives which shall be implemented to promote compliance. We need to ensure that the penalties for infringement are such that they are able to deter further infringement. And now, we also have to have an incentive system in place for compliance, for those who are compliant. If there is an incentive system in place, it will encourage compliance and curb infringement. And now, I realize that the lead is the SCOSA, but now it's going to need the support of the creators associations. We need to work hand in hand with your Lesotho Music Rights Association, your Arts Talent Bali, all these different arts associations. This needs to be a collaborative effort. And the timeline for that has been placed is 3 years. And now for the third one, we realize there's limited protection of works on digital platforms. And that one, the cause of that is our outdated laws that do not cover exploitation of digital platforms. And now as a policy initiative or policy measure to try and address or answer that, there's the need for ratification of your WIPO Internet Treaties. The WIPO Internet Treaties include your WIPO Copyright Treaty, WIPO Performances and Phonograms Treaty, and the Beijing Treaty on Audiovisual Performances. Now, there are now new rights that have been introduced in these international treaties that do not exist in our law. They were not in place at the time our law was enacted. There's now the need for inclusion of non-infringement of technology protection measures placed on the work. Now there is need to include the rental right, making available rights, such measures. We need to ensure that there's ratification and domestication of such treaties. And the need for that is the Ministry of Tourism, Sports, Arts and Culture, because domestication of these laws are on the part of government. And now our IP framework is somehow twofold, because now the way it has been set up, initially all of these were under the Ministry of Law and Justice. However, the Office of the Registrar of Copyright was now removed from that particular ministry and placed in the Ministry of Tourism, Sports, Arts and Culture. And the Office of the Registrar of Copyright, as per that particular law, is the custodian of that particular law. Which means now the Ministry of Tourism, Sports, Arts and Culture needs to take part in ratification of those laws because they are relevant to the sector in which the ministry leads. Now there is need for support from the Ministry of Law and Justice through its different offices, such as the Registrar General's Office, the Office of Parliamentary Counsel, and the Law Reform Commission. Those are they need to collaborate with such offices. And now the timeline that we've identified for that is 2 years. And now with that, our creatives will be able to, what do you call this, exploit their works, knowing full well that they will be remunerated for such exploitation on the digital space, Now, on the stakeholders that we have identified, first is the World Intellectual Property Organization, which is an intergovernmental organization. Now, they can assist in providing us with best practices because with their WIPO toolkits, so that we improve our protection, licensing, and remuneration for our artists. We also have a regional one, which is ARIPO, our African Regional Intellectual Property Organization, which is also an intergovernmental organization. They can assist with providing a framework for creators to obtain broader protection of their work and provide training to officials in each of their member states. And these frameworks, an example of the frameworks that we talk about is the ARIPO model law. Now the ARIPO model law tries to harmonize the laws that each ARIPO member state has. Like when we talk about our copyright order, yes, it needs to be aligned to the way we want to go as Basotho. However, it should meet the minimum protection standards that are set out in the international conventions that we are members to, such as the Berne Convention for the protection of literary and artistic works, the TRIPS agreement, the other treaties, other IP treaties that we are part of and those that we aspire to be part of. And now, the other stakeholder we have is the Registrar General's Office, which is our national IP office. We need to that they are our national IP focal point in the country for our relations with these external stakeholders that we talk about. And that for us as Group 3, that will be it. And I believe my groupmates will answer all your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are Group 2, and what 3 measures would most expand creators and citizens, yes, ability to access, create, distribute, and innovate digitally, affordably, and safely. So, you look at it earlier, we pinpointed that our core challenge, or at least from where we are standing, is our general populace lacks digital literacy. There is very little understanding in the engagement of the digital space at large, whether we are talking about things like spending our money, our mobile money situations, M-Pesa, EcoCash. You find our elders in the rural spaces are being cheated by their children, money is disappearing. You know, we have all sorts of challenges in regards to that digital space. So the first thing we need to be doing is finding how do we capacitate our people. you know. So we need to engage on that capacitation of our digital skill sets throughout the community first, because value stems from the ground. Growing up, trying to do this music thing, I was always told, I don't know, DJ, and you learn that the larger community we are a part of has that challenge. They don't understand, they just don't know, they don't have good enough engagement with the space. So yes, we have to start there with our digital literacy. And ideally, what we need our policy to do is make that accessible. How so? Campaigns. Mayor recently spoke about stuff like radio lessons. We need to find a way to make it easy for this knowledge to be transferred. Again, in our question, we have to highlight affordability and safely. So firstly, we need avenues that are credible, our government radio stations, our school platforms, and maybe our ministry platforms if they can give us access to digital space. We can engage stakeholders like the telecommunications guys, the people who have access to the equipment, the phones, the Wi-Fi's, the broadband people, and have them assist us with equipment to that regard, where, like I made an example earlier, we have a funder who hosts digital conferences or workshops over the phone with my people in the village, where they group themselves together. There's a smartphone set there between them, and there's back and forth communication between the person supplying the knowledge and the community receiving. And they can ask questions and integrate and engage each other so that understanding yatobote. You know, so the idea is we communicate with these folk and have them help us facilitate through those avenues. Yes? Number two, we are talking infrastructure. We have a very, very weakened digital infrastructure almost. And if we could maybe, like in the international spaces, have hotspots where our people can get access to your Wi-Fi's, your easy connections, maybe a hub, whether we place it at a school in a village, or a communal space where everybody has easy access to it. So basically, policy-wise, again, we are looking to have a policy help us avail digital hubs to set up in various communities around the country. We are looking at your Starlinks, your communications guys, your data guys, your technology guys, the people who have the storage capacity to not lose this guy by assisting us. Again, we said we're looking for safe and affordable measures. That's two. Number three, our cyberspace and IP protection. We've now possibly taught our people how to engage with the space. We've now created affordable or easy access. But now we haven't really expanded. Our people are still in their spaces creating, they can now take pictures of their stuff, but we now need to help them sell. But we need to keep them safe. So what are we going to do? We're going to create the platforms to avail this safe sale and distribution. Keep websites, activate mobile money platforms. Again, our people now know how to use these things. And ultimately, what will then happen is we in our KPIs. We now have all of the other challenges that were mentioned throughout our workshop today can be addressed through these 3 points that we've put down. And from the onset, our main challenge is data. We don't have data, but all of these give us direct, real-time access to the data all of our departments need. Thank you.
We are Group 1. Group 1 was dealing with policies, legal frameworks, and regulations. And we took that and said we categorized them and we said we'll do the priority on policies and we'll do the priorities on laws. Then our first priority was, we looked at the priority and we said, what is the situation we are in so that we can be able to prioritize? Then we said, the situation we are in is that we have outdated and limited policies currently. That is the situation we are in. Then we are saying what now to prioritize. We'll tell you that later stage. Then the policy measure. How can we measure that when we have prioritized? How can we measure how to make the policies to be updated, which is our last indicator. Then the priority here is to update the policies. Then how can we measure that? We measure that by a policy review with clear strategies and implementing that with clear strategies that are implementable. Then when they are implementable, we are saying they will be holistic, they will be inclusive, and they will be financially viable. That is the first thing which we need to measure with. And we said our policies, when they are updated, need to be harmonized with the already existing policies. Then we said, what is the roadmap to reach there, to an updated policies? Then we said, we think we need to have a 10-year term policy. The policy which we are coming to update, we need it to be a 10-year term policy. Because we are saying we need to make a futuristic policy. We are aware that it could be reviewed with little things in between around 3 years. But we are saying if it can be 10 years, it can even cover the NSDP. You can see that the NSDP are covered because they are 5 years, so that it could cover them. Then we said we think that the framework could be 12 months. Then within that 12 months where it's being implemented, we say there are things which need to be done. There are the national consultations, the mapping, the funding, the validation, and the approval of the senior management, together with the approval of the Ministry of Finance and the cabinet. Then we say the leading team will be this one of the Ministry of Tourism with the key government ministries and development partners. And I have already mentioned that where we are going, which is the indicator, which is our expected outcome, which is the updated policy with the clear strategies and that is implementable. And with policy, we said we could be up to there, and we said we are going to laws. And with laws, we said the current situation is that we also have outdated laws which are institutionalizing, and the unavailability of regulatory laws. There are two types of laws here. The institutionalizing laws are outdated, while the regulatory laws are not available. Then we said, what can we do? Then we need a policy. Our policy should be guiding the outdated laws, institutional laws. And we are thinking of the sub-councils which can help in formulating that as a national arts council. And the policy should guide the development of the regulatory laws which are not available. Then we are saying we don't need one regulatory laws in disperse. We need them integrated. One law should be covering all the spectrums. Then we said the laws can take around 24 months to be done. Then we are saying even here the leading ministry, we are seeing the Ministry of Tourism with other sister ministry, which we think law and justice could help us a lot in seeing that the laws are updated. And we also observe the UNESCO and CCI, COs and private sectors as the supporting development partners on to make sure that the laws are updated. And our target is updated laws that reflect the digital environment. Then we said when we have dealt with the laws and the policies, another thing which we think is lacking is coordination and collaboration at all levels. We are aware that the policies are made at higher levels, but where we want to implement them is at the grassroots where the CCIs are there. Then we need the collaboration from that level up to the policy level. Then we will need the section in the policy on the coordination, and in our policy, when we develop the policy, we'll need a section which is talking to the collaboration and coordination. Then this section, there should be also a technical working group which deals only with collaboration, coordination and collaboration. We are aware at the current moment that coordination and collaboration is another thing which hinders our policies to be implemented the way we want them to be implemented. And what is this one? The roadmap, the action, the roadmap, I think it's the same. Yes, 6 months. We are saying this could be done within 6 months. Also, the Ministry of Tourism being taking the lead with UNESCO and CCIs. I think the same group which was doing the work on the laws and policies. Then we are saying what can be done is partnership framework. This one will be explained thoroughly in that section in the policy. But it's happening on a higher level that we need partnership framework which says how these ministries relate and how can they work and how can they work together with the CIs and the CSOs. Then we said we also need a technical team, not just only a technical team, but the functional technical working group which can see that collaboration is happening well. And we all went, I see our template might be different. We went to an optional where we had the stakeholders and why they matter. The key stakeholders and why they matter. And we identified the key ministries and the MDs as the stakeholders which matters. And we said here other ministries which we could give example of is Ministry of Communication in particular, because it's the one which is in custody of the laws which could help in a digital environment. Then these ministries which we identified them as key stakeholders, they are the custodians of the laws and regulations that need to be reviewed to be included in the digital roadmap. I have already mentioned the Ministry of Communication. Then another key stakeholder we identified, the development partners. We said the development partners, we do need development partners for financial support and technical support. And we said again, we need another key stakeholder is private sector. We need an economy which is private sector led. And the private sector, we think it could help to make a sector it can help us to mobilize the resources so that we can have a digital environment. I think that's all. I think that's all. The question to my team.